Hi everyone, welcome to Social Intelligence Academy. My name is Huggy Jelly. Today we are going to learn how to properly make a request so that others are more willing to help us. This video is part 1 and don't forget to check out part 2. Just to clarify, this is not an English learning class. We are not going to learn phrases such as could you, would you, or would you mind, etc. Instead, we'll explore the logic behind a proper request and identify key elements in it, so that we know what information we should include and what kind of expression we should use in our requests. We'll start the course with a quiz first. Then the course will tackle this topic from 3 aspects: mentality, expression, and common mistakes. At the end of the course, I'll share the answer key of the quiz. And in the expression section, a template will be provided. This template will not only help you memorize what we will learn today, but also make your life easier when you need to structure requests under all kinds of circumstances. Okay, now let's take the quiz first and see how well you know about making a request. You just started your college life and you share the dorm with another girl, Lily. You haven't talked to her much yet during the orientation week. Then the semester began. On Monday, you don't have classes in the morning, so you decide to stay at the dorm during the day, and you are wondering whether Lily can grab lunch for you on her way back to the dorm, as she has classes in the morning. What would you say to Lily? Please arrange each choice from the most appropriate to the least appropriate, and briefly explain how you get your answer choice. Hi, Lily. Please grab lunch for me, since you have classes in the morning anyway. Hey, Lily, do you have classes in the morning? If you go to school cafeteria for lunch, could you help grab lunch for me? I don't have classes in the morning, so I'm thinking about staying in the dorm. Not sure whether this works for you. Thank you. Hey, Lily, I don't have classes in the morning, so I'll stay in the dorm. Could you help grab lunch for me? Oh, my sweet and lovely roomie, Lily, could you help grab lunch for me? Hi, Lily, could you help grab lunch for me? We are roomies and we should help each other. A request typically involves 2 parties, the requester and the requestee. As the requester, some of us may feel uncomfortable when we ask others to do something for us. We may struggle for half an hour before we hit the send button, and then struggle for another half hour while we wait for the response. One big reason is the fear of rejection. On the one hand, we should realize that no yes is 100% guaranteed. If we can establish this expectation when we make requests, it will actually help us conquer the fear, because we already know that no is one possible outcome. On the other hand, we can still learn some techniques that will increase our probability of getting a yes, which is exactly what this course is about. There is also another group of people who are way too confident, and they take others' help for granted. It's like that they are the king or the queen who is giving other people orders. And if others take the order, it's an honor. We'll cover this common mistake in this course as well. Woohoo! Here is the template. Okay, don't freak out. I know it's long because it covers different kinds of scenarios in our everyday life, but you don't need to use every single part of it all the time. So feel free to simplify the expression based on your own needs. Next, I'll go through each part of this template one by one and explain why it is structured in this way. We all know that when we ask others to do something for us, we should use polite words, but the timing also matters. What if you say the same thing, but you send a personal request during busy hours? How will the requestee feel? If you are not sure whether the requestee is available or not, you'd better check with him or her first. Do you have some time now? I have a question about XYZ. Try to give the requestee an idea of how long it may take, whether it is something complicated or something simple, so that he or she can set aside the right amount of time, or maybe you need to schedule another time. When we minimize the impact of our interruption on requestee's life, we are more likely to get a yes. We can use phrases such as could you, would you, may I, etc. to bring up our requests, and use thank you. I appreciate your help. I feel much better now to show our gratitude. We can also add softener words such as possibly or by any chance to make our request sound more polite. You may have already noticed that it is not the requestee's obligation to help us. It is at their discretion to decide whether they agree to accept our requests or not. Thus, we need to reflect this respectful and humble attitude in our expression by using an inquiring tone rather than an imperative tone. If you give the requestee the room to say no, it actually increases your chances to get a yes. For example, A, could you help review this document for me? This is the first time I write a business report. Not sure whether I missed anything. Thank you. B, please review this document for me. Thanks. The problem with B is commanding the requestee because B doesn't give the requestee the freedom to say no. Moreover, B didn't explain the reason, which is the next key element we are going to learn. Without much explanation, B sounds like he is the boss who issues paycheck to the requestee rather than a colleague. Giving explanation on why you need requestee's help is telling the requestee that I believe you have the right to know what has happened. I care about what you think and how you feel. I want to win your understanding and consent. On the contrary, if you don't provide enough background information, you are showing an attitude that I don't care what you think and how you feel, just do what I ask you to do, which is not only very rude, but also arrogant. Needless to say, you'll get a big no-no from the requestee. How would you feel when you see this request? No matter how many soft words we add to this request, it can hardly become a proper request to most people. Why? Because this request is too big. As a requester, we need to make sure that our requests are reasonable. Doing so will not only increase the probability of getting a yes, but also shows that we have a strong sense of social etiquette. You can use the following 3 criteria to check whether your request is reasonable or not. Before we make a request, we may have already evaluated what the requestee is capable of. But to be more precise, this scope can be further narrowed down to what the requestee is willing to help. For example, assume you have a rich relative and you want to borrow 10 grand from him. Depending on how you use the money, your relative's willingness can be very different. If you use the money for gambling, I don't think your relative will lend you the money. However, if you use the money to pay college tuition and you were admitted by an Ivy League school, then you are more likely to get the money. When we ask others to do something, we'd better give a reason like, I'm not able to do that, rather than, I don't want to do that. For example, my stomach is aching. I need to take some rest. Could you cook dinner for me? I want to play this video game for another hour. Could you cook dinner for me? If you ask others to do something that you can actually do it by yourself, you are pushing the requestee to think, I'm not your servant, okay? If you are making a relatively big request, you'd better mention what you are going to offer in return. We should show our gratitude not only through our mouth, but also through our actions. Even though many requestees don't expect any return when they agree to help, if you can proactively offer the repay, you are sending a signal that 1. You are not trying to get a free ride, and you respect requestee's time and energy. 2. You clearly know the market value of requestee's help. 3. You are willing to repay more if the requestee can dedicate more. Thus, the requestee has the motivation to prioritize your request and do their best to fulfill the mission. Today we did a quiz first. Then we talked about what mentality we should have when we make a request. After that, we walked through the template together and studied the 4 elements of an appropriate request. In the next video, we will continue to study the remaining elements. Then we will talk about a couple common mistakes people make in their daily life. At the end of the video, I'll share the answer key. If you have any question about this video, feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you for watching and see you soon with the second part.
Goodbye.